Hello and welcome to Content in Hand, getting the best rich media from your mobile device. I'm your host, Wayne MacPhail, and this is part 9. And part 9 is going to dive into post-production. Post-production is where you take the clips that you've shot, combine them maybe with some music or some captioning, some lower thirds, which is what identifies people in the video, and maybe put an intro and extra clip on the video. So what I'm going to do is actually take you through the post-production of the video that we saw earlier about the yoga studio. So here we go. I've already shown you a director's cut of this video. It's the one about the yoga studio, but I thought it would be useful to show you how that video was actually put together. Now I'm using a tool here called Final Cut Pro, which is the editing app I actually use to put together this piece. And it's a very sophisticated, high-end tool for editing video. It's not likely that very often you might use a tool for this, although you may sort of want to try this out. But I'm using it because it's actually a really good way, I think, from a tutorial point of view, to show you how something is put together, some of the elements that are put together to make a final video, and some choices you need to make. Now, these are all in the upper left here. You're seeing all of the individual clips that went into this video, and some of these little guys you might recognize. I'm just going to play one of them here. And this is at the beginning of the video, panning on the outside of the building. And again, all these were shot with the iPhone, by the way. And here's a historical shot of the building, and I'm just going to play that a little bit. And there's some interiors as well. And here is the first clip of somebody speaking, and she is the first person that we see in the video. And again, I can take pieces from this. I can decide what piece I want to move into this. So one of the first things I would do is sort of audition these clips and make some choices about what pieces or what whole clips that I want to include in the video. And you can see there's an awful lot of them because you really want to have very short clips. You don't want to have really long ones, just sort of in some cases seconds long, unless you're doing an interview with somebody. So these are, again, all of the clips that I used to do this piece. And the piece itself isn't that long, but you can see I had lots to choose from. And this is mostly B-roll, except with the exception of the people that I interviewed here. Almost all of it is B-roll, just short little snippets. So let's go down here to what's called the timeline. And the timeline is where the piece is actually put together. And I'll show you some of the elements here. So this is the actual clip that is included in the piece. Down here is the music, in some cases, or the sound. In some cases that is built into the clip. In other cases, like down here, it's actually added after the fact. And you can see here, this is the floor with the candle on. I'll just show you that in the big screen. And there's music underneath that I've added afterwards. And you can hear that. So you'll also notice a couple of other elements here. These are in purple here, the titling that's going to come in. So the first one that comes in is the main title, and you can see that it says yoga, and then it's going to fade in. And then you can see there's a little gap between the first part of this main head and the second sort of subhead, and that's so that the head can start coming in first, and then the second one comes in. And that purple denotes how long those clips are going to stay, and it's a special effect called fade in and fade out. So it's starting to fade already and disappears, and now we're left with that shot of the floor and the globes. So now we're just going to do a crossfade, and we've seen crossfades before in iMovie. Here it is again, and again the purple subtitle here, and this is called the lower third, and it's Kim Agostino. So Kim is going to be talking here. As she's talking, it cuts to what's called B-roll, and that B-roll is one of these clips up here. I'm just going to find it up here. It's quite a ways up. So here we have the actual clip that's used there. And that B-roll goes, you can see here that there's no sound underneath it. I've actually killed the sound. If I bring that up, you can actually see there was sound. That's traffic noise, but I got rid of that. And there is sound where Kim is talking. So she's talking, the B-roll comes in, then that historical clip we saw comes in, and then we crossfade to an exterior of the building. We already saw that clip, and then back to Kim. So let's just take a look at how that looks.
116 years old, and it's sat vacant for a number of years until
so the B-roll
a couple of
serves
wonderful
two
visionaries
purposes.
decided
One,
to rejuvenate the space.
gives more interest, it gives some context to what the speaker is saying. But you can see here, it also serves a second purpose. So you'll see these lines here. These are where I actually cut what Kim was saying. So there might have been some ums and ahs, there may have been a section of the dialogue that I didn't think pertained and I wanted to tighten it up a bit. If I had removed the B-roll, or if I didn't have any B-roll, you would see that Kim jumps in the video because she's got a different mouth position or a different head position, and you don't want to show that. And so you can see here that there are a number of cuts that I made to her speech. In the audio you don't notice the cuts, but you would visually. So I'm just going to play that first with the B-roll in place. Now I'm going to get rid of that B-roll for just a second. So you can see there were some really serious jumps there, and I'm just going to put that clip back in. So now we can see that it back in, and we don't see those clips anymore, those cuts anymore. So now I'm going to just jump to a second part of here, the clip. So now Kim's finished up. Now we're transitioning to a new speaker, Kelly, over here. So what I've done to sort of smooth out that transition is cut away to a piece of B-roll that pertains to what Kelly's talking about. Now there'll still be a bit of Kim in there, and that's okay because it sort of fades out underneath that. But now Kelly comes in, you can see the lower third for Kelly, and it's a nice way to transition from Kim here talking, crosses over, now Kelly's talking, and then we go to Kelly. So now we're back in with Kelly. Now we've got B-roll of Kelly going through her yoga poses, and we're cutting to that. So the B-roll pertains to what Kelly's saying, and it is Kelly. I'm doing a lot of crossfades there while Kelly is speaking. And again, no sound for the B-roll. The sound's coming from Kelly herself. We're jumping to a whole different section in the video, and now we've got Abby coming in. You can see the lower third there. Now you notice the lower third's over here now, because if I put it here I would have trouble reading it on her neck, so I deliberately positioned it out of there. So again, more B-roll coming back here, close up on her. Now how would I actually add B-roll here? Well, I can pick something. Now this will be completely out of context, but I can actually select, I'm just getting some in and out points here. So I've selected in yellow here. I can just take that and drop it into the timeline. So I hope that that gives you a little sense of how you actually put a video together like this. You can actually preview the entire thing if you wanted to see how it looks on a full screen. And that's really helpful because this really is sort of the final product, and you want to preview the whole video before you output it. So that's how I put together this clip, and that's a little bit about Final Cut Pro. Again, probably an application you wouldn't use most often, but I think it's a really good way of showing you how a clip like this is actually put together. And that was part 9 of Content in Hand, getting the best rich media from your mobile device. In part 10, we're going to wrap everything up. I'm going to do a little bit of a summary about what we've learned so far and some final notes. Hope you can join me then.